Hello, my name's Steven Payne. I'm a Learning Delivery Specialist with Microsoft Australia, and I'm based in Perth, Western Australia. My background is a maths teacher, and I've been working for the last few years with the Microsoft team here in Perth, supporting schools, colleges and universities make the most out of Microsoft technologies. Today we're going to focus on assessments within Microsoft Teams. So in this session, we're going to look at how the assignments within Microsoft Teams are really set up for hybrid learning. Whether you're working face-to-face or online, you can use the tools that are here within Microsoft Teams to help you create, track and review assignments. You can use forms within assignments, and you can also use them throughout Microsoft Teams. More about that later on. I'll also talk about insights, where you can track trends and online behaviours. And also there is a social and emotional learning component to this using the new Reflect app within Microsoft Teams. And then finally I'll show you where you can go and explore further information both about Microsoft Teams and all the other Microsoft 365 apps with features that support assignments within your classroom. So Microsoft Teams, I like to think of it as your digital hub. It's where everything is done. I pretty much spend my day in Microsoft Teams. I can chat to my co-workers, I can access all of my resources, and as a teacher you can also take all of the apps that you know and love and have students collaborate in a PowerPoint or on a OneNote. I've just put some of the apps that are embedded within Microsoft Teams on the screen here, but you can also use things such as Flipgrid and Microsoft Whiteboard, as well as a whole lot of third-party services that you might use. So what we're going to do today is see that Teams is much more than just a place to have online meetings and store your files. In a school, you've got 4 different types of team that you can use. If you want to use assignments, you will need to set up a class team. The professional learning community, staff and other teams are really useful, but you don't have the ability to send assignments, give feedback to students in the way that you can in a class team. When you set up a class team, you have a whole lot of extra tools and features to support the learning process. So make sure that you set up a class team if you create your own teams. Sometimes these may be created by your IT team automatically. You can set up a link so that every timetabled class in your school automatically has a class team. If that's your case, excellent. You don't even need to set up your teams. They're done for you. But what we're going to do today is have a look at how you can actually get started with assignments and some of the tools there. So what do you get when you create a class team? Well, as you can see on the screen here, it's just like a standard team where you can make announcements, you can have conversations, ask questions, you can store your files. But when you create a class team, you also have a class notebook and an area for your assignments and grades. So all of the things that you need within a classroom can be done within one place. The whole life cycle of an assignment can actually take place without leaving Microsoft Teams. So what we're going to do in this session today is first of all have a look at Teams assignments, how you can set up an assignment, give it to particular students, how you can mark it, how you can collect in their work, and some of the options that you have around that. We'll also look at Microsoft Forms, how they can be used within an assignment, but also they can be used in different areas within Teams. You can, for example, add a tab with a collaborative form that students might be creating themselves. You can also add a quick poll within a conversation. And finally, we're going to look at insights, where you can get some quick information about how your students are behaving inside your team, who's accessing what and how often they're there, whether assignments are being handed in on time. And we'll also have a look at the new Reflect app and how that can support social and emotional learning as well. So without further ado, let's go straight into Teams and explore assignments. So I've opened up Microsoft Teams here, and I use Teams a lot for demoing. This is a demo team, and I've got a lot of Teams set up. If you're not that familiar with Teams, thing to remember is the left-hand side is what I like to call the me space. So everything down here is personal to me. I've got my calendar, I can see my assignments, I can access my Teams, I can chat with people that I want to chat to, and I see activity that's relevant to me by clicking on these buttons here. We're not going to need those today, so I'm going to go straight in to this team here. And this is a fairly new team, that's why there's no conversations here. So I just wanted to show you what a team looks like when you first set it up. What you're going to find here is that in a class team, you can actually have the whole life cycle of an assignment, or everything that you need to do within a class can be done within a team. You can introduce a topic, you can discuss it, you can assess it, you can create, distribute, collect and grade everything within Microsoft Teams. So when you first set up a class team, you're asked, where do you want to start? Do you want to upload class materials, or do you want to set up a class notebook? I'm not actually going to set up a class notebook today, but that's a really useful way of being able to assign work to different students and kind of have your digital textbook and your digital exercise books in one place. If you want to find out more about OneNote class notebooks, and I recommend you do if you don't use them already, I'll share a link with you at the end of this session. Uploading class materials. So what this allows me to do is upload resources that I might have, templates or handouts or worksheets or ebooks that I want the students to access. Basically any digital file can be uploaded into class materials. So the thing to remember here is anything that goes into the class materials is read-only to the students. So I've just put a couple of templates there that I want the students to access. I uploaded those yesterday. So anything I put in there is read-only to the students unless I give it to them as an assignment, and then I have further options. I can also make other folders here, and students can collaborate. So anything outside of the class materials folder, I could make a new PowerPoint, for example, and students would be able to edit and collaborate on that PowerPoint. So just remember, anything in class materials is read-only. Okay, so that's where I can put all my materials. I can start a new conversation here. I won't do that just yet. But what I've also done is I've added some channels. So these might be on topics that you're covering. They might be a channel for questions and answers about what's happening in class. You might have an area for discussions, and you can manage those in the way that you want. So there might be times when you want students to respond and discuss things. There might be times when you just want to make an announcement. And as we'll see, when you set an assignment, that can also be posted directly into a channel as well. So without further ado, I'm going to click on the Assignments tab. And look, I love a blank slate. I haven't created any assignments in this team yet, so that's what I'm going to do now. And I'm just going to show you the main options that you have when you create an assignment. So when I click Create, I've got three options here. I can either create an assignment, that's just a general assignment. You can use a quiz, which basically uses a Microsoft form, and we'll look at that shortly. Or you can use an existing assignment. So if you've used assignments in any other teams, you can go and choose a particular team, and any of the assignments you've made in that team are available for you to reuse. But let's just start from scratch. I'm going to create an assignment, and I'm going to give it a title. So I'm going to call this Literacy Ideas. I can put some instructions here, read the template, and add your ideas. So now I can add resources, and those resources can basically be any digital file. I can either bring something across from my OneDrive, so I can take a personal file and bring it along into the assignment. I can go into the class notebook. I haven't set one up for this team, but you can use any page from a class notebook as an assignment. You can use a link. So it may be that you want to link to an external site such as Flipgrid, or perhaps a link onto your learning management system. Or you can browse any of your files within Teams. So you can browse any of your other teams, or you can bring in a file directly from the team that you're in, which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to use this writing prompts, and I'm going to attach that file, and the students are going to be sent a copy of that with the assignment. You'll see here it says students can't edit. You have the choice of whether students can edit their own copy or they can't edit at all. In this case, I want students to be able to edit their own copy, and they'll all be given a copy of that writing prompt to respond to. I can add further resources, so maybe I want to add a video or a file for them to read, or a template. I can add those resources there. I can also add a rubric, so maybe I can choose rubrics that I've already used. I can also upload rubrics, so maybe we've got, as a school, we've got a standard rubric that we want to use across all of our different Year 7 students, for example. We can upload that rubric, and you can also share across schools as well. But let's just make a brand new rubric here. So really simple. This is going to be my literacy Year 7, and maybe in this thing I'm going to look at the components of a story, if I can spell, components of a story. And I'm going to look at collaboration. So to save time, I won't actually write in the criteria now, but you can see there that you can put in whatever titles you want. You can type your own criteria, and when you go to mark some work, as we'll look at later on, you can actually just tap the score that student has got. So let's just attach that rubric there. I can choose who it's going to be assigned to. So I could assign it to English A, but I can also, if I teach English B and English C, assign it to them on the same page. So I can choose multiple classes that I teach. I can also choose whether it's going to go to all of the students in my class, or perhaps I want to differentiate the tasks and send Terry, Enrico and Marsha a slightly different task. So I can do that if I want. I choose the due date, so let's say it needs to be in on Wednesday, and I can choose the due time. Assignments will post immediately with late turn-ins allowed, so you can actually choose whether late turn-ins are allowed. So the due date's Wednesday, July the 14th. I could say, okay, that's the due date, but anyone who does it by the end of the week, I'll also accept those as well. You can also schedule to assign in the future. So if you're really organised, you can set up all of your terms assignments in the future, and then students won't get them before they need them. So you've got some options there, which I think are really useful. You can also add the assignments to calendars. So do you want the assignment to be added to the students' calendar, the students and mine, and the students and the team owners? So the team owners might be your head of faculty, or they could be the deputy principal in the primary school, things like that. So you choose whether it's assigned to the calendars. If you do use calendars with students, they use their Outlook calendar, their deadlines will automatically be added in there. So that can be a really useful feature if you are using email and calendars with students. You can also choose where the assignments are going to be posted. So by default, they're posted into the general channel, but you might have a homework channel, or you might want to put them into the digital storytelling channel. You can just click edit, and if I choose digital storytelling, that's the topic we're doing this term. So when I assign it, it's going to be posted into that channel. I just click assign, check that I've put all the details there, I click assign, and then that's assigned to the students. Another thing that can be useful if you're using assignments quite a lot is to add categories. So you might have a category called weekly check-in, or it might be formal assignment, or it might be ongoing assignment. You can just add categories and they will be added into that assignment. So now I'm going to assign it and I can see that that's been assigned. Excellent. Now, when I go on to my assignments tab, I can see any drafts, anything that's been assigned and anything that's been returned. Nothing yet. On the top right hand corner are the three little dots, the ellipsis, and remember they're really useful to go and find out further information. So when I click on my three little dots here, I can change all the assignment settings for my assignments. So any assignments that I set in this class, I can set the default time. So 11:59, that might be a bit late, so you might want things to be in by 5 p.m. or something like that. You can also choose whether all future assignments are sent to calendars. You can choose the default assignment for this team. Again, you can change that as often as you want, so you might want to change that each term or each topic. And you can also decide if students are added to your team, are they also going to be given previous assignments? And then finally, if you haven't seen a student hand in a piece of work in Microsoft Teams, it's so much fun. There's these animated celebrations that you can see. I don't know why you'd want to turn that off, but you do have the option to turn off those animations for students if you want. Okay, now if I go over to my left hand side, this is what I would call the we space. So remember, this first one here is the me space. That's personal to me. The second column here is the we space. So everything in here is visible to those students and staff that have access to this team. You'll notice this one is in bold, digital storytelling. And that's in bold because something new has been posted there. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. Literacy ideas, view assignment. So all of the students will see that this assignment has been posted here, and they'll also find an alert in their activity feed. So any student that I've assigned this to will see that it's here, and they'll also be alerted to it here. And if you've turned on calendars, they'll also see it in their calendars. So lots of ways for students to access that work. Now, if I click view assignment, I can actually see at a glance all the students in my class. How many have turned it in? Well, I only said it a couple of minutes ago, so I'm not expecting anyone to have completed it yet. And I can give feedback to the students. So I can click on this particular student here, and if they've completed their work, I'll see it in this Word document here, and I can give them feedback. What I can also do is I can actually review inside this window. So I can add comments, I can track changes, all of the things that you might do maybe with a formal essay in a high school. You can do all that sort of stuff inside Word, inside Teams. I can also return this to the student as well. So I could say complete the table and hand in again. So I return that back to the student, and the student will see that I've handed that back with some comments. So you can see there, you've got that feedback cycle. It's not a one-time event. If you've got an ongoing assignment, students can add their content to a journal, or perhaps they are asking for feedback on a formal assignment, maybe an essay or a story, and you can make comments and you can have that back and forth between the student. So let me just close that down now, and I'm going to go back to all of my teams, and I'm just going to show you how the forms can be used inside Teams as well. So let me go to English A, and this time I'm going to set an assignment, but this time I'm going to create an assignment as a quiz. So you'll see when you choose quiz, it brings up the Microsoft Forms window, And you can either choose an existing quiz, or you can create a new quiz inside Microsoft Forms. Well, I'm gonna use a quiz that I've already got, Romeo and Juliet. So I click on that, and you'll see you've got the same format as below. I'm just going to say complete the quiz. And it's already seen that it's 15 points. It's a multiple choice quiz, and that will be automatically marked by Microsoft Forms within Microsoft Teams. So let me send that to all students. And you'll see now, once that's been assigned to all students, it's just a Microsoft team, and I've got the I can see all of those results directly on the web. Oh, I don't know, I've gone into the wrong browser. Ignore that, I'll come back to that later. So really simple to add existing forms that you've created within Microsoft Teams. And let me just show you where that was created. So I'll open up, let me go Windows tab. I'll go to office.com. So all of your resources can be accessed through office.com. And if I go into Microsoft Forms, there's my Romeo and Juliet quiz. And we've looked at a particular topic, Act 1 of Romeo and Juliet. I've put some multiple choice questions. You'll see this is actually a fill in an answer rather than multiple choice. But all I've done is created this. I've added in the questions, and then I've been able to select that directly within Microsoft Teams. I can also just grab the link. I can choose whether it's people in my organization or anyone. I can copy that, and I can put that link into Microsoft Teams, maybe if it's a more informal quiz. So let me just minimize that for now. Another place where you can use Microsoft Forms is within a conversation. So maybe you just want to get some feedback. So this time I'm going to click on the three little dots and add forms directly into a conversation. So, did you enjoy today's play? Oh, and it's got some suggestions. There we go. Yes or no. Save. So really simply, a student or a staff member can create a form as a quick poll within Microsoft Teams, within a chat, and then students can come in and respond. Another way you can use forms within a team is to actually add forms as a tab along the top. So when I go to add a form, you see there's all sorts of things that you can add. We haven't got time to look at all of them today, but if I click on forms, I can either choose an existing form, or I can create a new form that perhaps students can work on together. So if you've got students working in groups, they can perhaps create some forms to check each other's understanding as well. So lots of different ways that you can use Microsoft Forms. Now, another one that's just been added into Microsoft Teams is the Reflect app that I mentioned. So what I can do is, you'll notice here there's a little heart at the bottom of the screen that says Reflect. And so this is a really quick way. I don't think, maybe I haven't got it set up in this team. So I'm just going to set it up in this team. And what this allows me to do is, maybe at the end of a day or at the end of a week, I can ask students to reflect on their learning today. So you'll see here there are some default questions, but you can change this. So how are you feeling today? How did this week feel for you? How do you feel about your ability to succeed? There's questions about goals and intentions, and you can change those and edit them yourselves. You can decide the privacy. So the teacher can see students' names and reflections, but the classmates see the reflections and not the names. Or you can have it so that classmates don't see anything and it's just for the teacher. So here's my preview. I click send. that is posted similar to a Microsoft form, but that will just appear in the relevant place for the students, and they just click the option showing how they feel today. As a teacher, I can go in and explore and see how students are feeling directly inside Teams. There we go. So I can see 19 people haven't responded yet. Okay, so do check out Reflect, and there's further information about that online. Okay, so there's just a few of the things that you can access directly inside Microsoft Teams to actually grade students' work. We've had a brief look at that, but when I click on grades, I will actually see all of the marks are automatically put into this grade book, and you can export that and import it into other grades books that you might use at your school. So what I'm going to do now is just show you a few other places where you can get further information about these topics that we've been looking at today. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint presentation, and on the left here, aka.ms/onestop.edu. That is my #1 place for looking for resources. I'll show you that in a second. If you want to find out more about Microsoft Teams, or you want to look at using more advanced features of Forms or Flipgrid or any of the other Microsoft products, that's the place to go. If you want to find out more about assignments in Teams, there's a great course here, quite a long URL, but I have put a QR code on the screen which you can quickly scan to get in and have a look at that. Of course, if you want to contact the Microsoft Education team, just use the hashtag MSAUEDU. That's the Australia-specific Microsoft Education hashtag, and someone from the team will be able to answer your questions. So I'm just going to go back to the web now, and this is the OneStop.edu website that I mentioned, and you'll see there's information about this is the OneStop.edu. You've got information about Teams, Flipgrid, OneNote, Excel, Forms. So if you want to find out more about Teams, go to the Teams product page, and you'll get quick start guides. You've got short videos that you can watch. There's information about creating assignments. There's information about using OneNote class notebook within Teams, and then lots more information about the feedback cycle, celebrating and praising with students, using forms, all sorts of stuff that you might want to know about Microsoft Forms. You've also got information about OneNote, so if you want to go and explore the OneNote class notebook, you can find that information there. And this is another great one, Forms. I've just only shown you the briefest of introductions to Microsoft Forms. There's lots of really great features for mathematics. There's accessibility features so that the form can be read out to you, and lots more resources besides. So do check that out. And then finally, there is the, if you look here and you've signed, oh sorry, not there. If you've signed into the Microsoft Educator community, you can redeem your achievement code by clicking on your picture or your initials in the corner and then typing in the code that I'm about to share with you, and you'll earn points for coming along to this session today. So lots of information on the Microsoft Educator Center here. Definitely recommend checking in and doing the courses and earning your badges. So, OneStop.edu, that's what I just showed you there. And on the next page, this is, if you type in this achievement code by clicking on the corner and typing in this code, you will get your points for coming along today. Then finally, I just want to say thank you for choosing to come along to this workshop. I hope it's been useful for you, and I hope that you find assignments useful in Teams with your students. My email and Twitter details are on the board, so feel free to get in touch with me if you've got any further questions. Thank you.